Hi, I'm Sergio. This is Latin Guitar Mastery, and today I'm going to talk to you about improvising in a Latin blues style. I'm going to be using the E minor pentatonic scale. We're going to look at how to use the E minor pentatonic scale along the fretboard and how my approach to soloing. We'll explore some extra notes as well and some ideas to help bring more feel and phrasing to your own solos. So let's get started. So first up, I've created a backing track, a Latin blues backing track in E minor, and I'm going to use my loop pedal here to play along with it. This backing track I'm going to make available for you on my blog at Latin Guitar Mastery for you to practice as well. But to start with, I'm going to play through some of this backing track with some of my ideas, and then we'll talk about what I'm actually doing. So that was just a bit of improvising on my part, but I was using some basic shapes and ideas that I want to talk you through now. So first of all, let's look at the notes in E minor pentatonic. There's 5 notes. It's a pentatonic scale which has 5 notes, and the notes are E, G, A, B, D, and then we repeat those notes. And generally speaking, a lot of guitarists, especially when they're starting, will use that pentatonic scale in that kind of vertical position. And you can play that in open position, or you can use that shape in a closed position, like for example in A minor, or depending on what note you start in on that 6th string. But going back to E minor, it works very well to play in that position, but I find that when you're playing in that vertical fashion, it's hard to get that kind of melodic phrasing and that feel. So what I tend to do, and what I was taught to do many years ago, was to look at those notes all along the fretboard, these 5 notes, map them out, and then kind of connect them up to create some shapes. So let's have a look at all those notes along the fretboard, the E, G, A, B, and D notes along the fretboard. And you'll see at the bottom of the screen, there are a lot of them, but they kind of create these nice shapes and patterns that you could use by honing in on these different shapes. For example, the ones that I like to use, and I'll bring up some shapes now, would be this sort of house shape. I really enjoy using that one. I like to also use this square, that triangle, and that square. So you'll find that if I play here with a slide, then I can kind of create the same scale, but it's easier to do this than start here and end here. Oftentimes I'll just play the slide, or you can play it without the slide. So you can see already we're starting to get a bit more feel. I often use pull-offs, and I often repeat like a little pattern like that. And then I might also add this blue note, the B flat, or the flat 5, which I've added on your screen, which gives you a bit more bluesiness. And it acts as a kind of a passing note. So for example, if you're playing a B, B flat, A. So I really encourage you to use that note. It's not part of the pentatonic scale, and you wouldn't necessarily stay on it, but it's nice to resolve away from it. So if I'm playing like a little slur pattern, a little pull-off, then I can go, or I might do it here. The other thing you can do is slide into those or out of those. That sort of thing. you can see by doing these little shapes, focusing on small ideas and then piecing them together is when you start to get the feel and that kind of groove that you're trying to get, especially in a Latin context. So what I've done is I've created this backing track, and if you go to latinguitarmastery.com or follow the link below, you can try and play along with the backing track and explore some of these ideas, starting on different positions and working on different boxes. I also encourage you to just kind of stay on one position. For example, and then slowly. So you can build that tension by starting on one shape, and especially as you're moving high, you kind of create that extra lift and that extra tension. So let me know if you have any questions around improvising with that scale, and be sure to memorize and use those patterns as much as you can. It's definitely a visual thing where you sort of you don't really necessarily have to think so much about the actual notes, but we're talking about improvising here. We're talking about going with feel and trying to sing through the notes in your head and develop that kind of that soloistic, spontaneous kind of feel. So there it is, E minor pentatonic shapes on the guitar, played in a Latin context, in a Latin blues style. I hope you have a lot of fun with that, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.